God was using the jealousy and the hatred of the brothers to preserve the life of hundreds of thousands of people in Egypt and Canaan and the surrounding countries. And we know this because many years later, after Joseph had been promoted into a position of great political authority in Egypt, after Joseph had spent 7 years gathering and storing up a surplus of grain in preparation for 7 years of severe famine, Joseph had the occasion to reveal himself to his brothers. And when he did this, he says to them in Genesis 45, verse 5, "But now do not therefore be grieved or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life." You hear that? God sent me before you to preserve life. This is God's providence. God was preserving the life of hundreds of thousands of people by using Joseph as a quote-unquote second cause. But it wasn't just Joseph. It was Joseph's brothers' jealousy. It was Reuben's idea to throw Joseph into the pit. It was the band of Ishmaelite traders that just happened to be going by. It was Potiphar's wife. It was the cupbearer and the baker, and so on and so on. And it's important for us to understand that God preserves and governs all things by means of second causes. And to be ignorant of this truth will certainly lead us into serious error. For example, consider how many people attribute the circumstances of life to luck. When something unexpectedly good happens to somebody, a person will say, "Well, that guy's lucky." Or when a series of unfortunate events happens, a person will say, "Wow, that guy's going through a string of hard luck." And to attribute the outcome of events, life events, to luck denies the providence of God. It's a denial of the providence of God. It's a denial that God is actively preserving and governing all things by means of second causes. It's to advance a view of the world where there is no God working as a first cause. Or if there is a God, then he's not involved in the governance of the world. He's idle. He sits back. He's merely watching. He's an observer, not an active participant. Consider how offensive it would be to God if Joseph's brothers rode away from Egypt with bags full of grain on their camels and said, "Wow, aren't we lucky that Joseph turned out to be a big shot in Egypt? What are the chances of that?" That would be robbing God of his glory, right? That would be giving credit, taking credit from God's providence and attributing it to some impersonal force that we call dumb luck.